Today we're going to talk about Moses' calling. Old Testament callings were so much more dramatic than the quiet and ordinary callings of today. I remember my first calling. I was about 10 or 11 years old, and I felt the calling of God on my life. I was in my bedroom, and when I felt it, I went and got a TV tray and put it up in my bedroom with a lace tablecloth, and I put my little missalette and my rosary beads. And I think I put a vase of small flowers, and I knelt down in front of the altar and I said, "Yes, God, I want to be your servant." By the time I was 13, I pretty much felt that I had disqualified myself from that calling, but God never gave up on me. So today we're going to take a look at the calling of Moses and discover the key elements to that call. First of all, it was God's voice calling. The voice of God came through the angel in the fire that was a burning bush. This fire inside of the bush was the angel of God that was the calling of Moses' life. And Moses responds to the burning bush by walking towards that fire. The second thing that we'll see as a key element to that call is Moses' character and response to help God's people. You know, Moses was picked up out of the river, floating down the river from a basket, picked up, brought into the palace, and grew up in the palace with favor and comfort, everything he needed. But by the time he was a young man, he let go of the comforts of life in the palace and joined his people, the Israelites, who were enslaved by the Egyptians. And he joined them and lived a life with them alongside of their suffering. That was a choice that he made. And I wonder, would we do the same? I think of all the missionaries and our friends that are in foreign countries who have given up a life of ease to follow God and serve Him in places that aren't quite as comfortable as the United States. The third element was Moses' reliance on God. His faith in God says so much. His faith was in God's ability to do everything that Moses did not have the capability to do. See, Moses knew that he was a stutterer. He had a speech impediment. So he figured, I can't speak. Nobody's going to listen to me. But God said, just tell them, I am has sent you. So Moses identifies with who God is more than he identifies with who he is not. And I love that kind of reliance on God, that faith in God that moves us forward with the movement of God and the Holy Spirit blowing across our lives. The fourth element to the call is that Moses, deciding that his shortcomings were no match to God's power, offers God all that he has. And all that he had was a staff. Because in Exodus 4:1, God says to Moses, after the call, he says, what is that in your hand? And Moses says, a staff. It's just an ordinary staff, but what did God do with that staff once Moses offers it to him? By saying, yes, Lord. Moses is used to take the Israelites through the desert and through the Red Sea. The Red Sea parts with his staff. Moses is given the 10 Commandments, the most powerful tool in the world for us to know how to please God. The 10 Commandments were given to Moses because he offered him his staff. Moses was also the one who built the tabernacle of God, the place where God was to dwell among his people, the Israelites. All that because he offered him his staff. So what is it in your hand that you have that you can offer God? Is it a paintbrush? Is it a writing pen? Is it your voice? Is it your influence with a certain people group? Is it your ability to cook and take care of people who aren't able to provide for themselves? Whatever it is that's in your hand, if you will offer it to God, He will turn it into an instrument of worship. He will turn it into an instrument to bring healing to people, God's people. And all we have to do is say, "Here I am, Lord.